Welcome to this episode. I'm glad that be here with Stephanie Kaplan joining me to talk about new subject. When you realize your capabilities, you become limitless. So it's nice having you here, Stephanie.
Yeah, I'm so excited to be here to have this conversation. Everyone, happy birthday.
Thank you. So I was just trying to open the subject because it's really important through your life experience and through your coaching with a high performance creators and many different people. So it's very important to me to know through your journey and your own knowledge um, how how you find the definition of the high performance, and especially when they realize their capabilities.
Yeah, so high performance, I work a lot with founders and CEOs and executives, but anyone from like a business setting tends to really be in that high performance hustle atmosphere. I'm sure we all can relate to that energy that we would feel being in a business setting. And so the work that I do isn't typical advice that you'd hear, from the world of like having work life balance, that you work really, really hard from 9 to 5, and then you have to like set a boundary and stop working. And that's your work life balance. It's about integration of self to be able to work as much or as little as you need, right? When you're building a company, you are going to have to work more than when your company can sustain itself and can run, whether you hire executives or you're raising money. There are things that you do need to do. And so what we want to do is not get you to a place of just creating a rule, another rule to live by, which is like work life balance. I have to stop at this point. And then from 9 to 5, you're in this hustle mindset where you're unhappy, you're in fight or flight, and you hate that period. And then you're in your balance stage, which is, the second half of the day where you're able to relax. It's how can you invite more balanced energy in your everyday so that you can continue to work as much or little as you need. And we're all going to have different phases of life, right? When you're starting a company, when you're an employee, when you have children, when you're getting married, like there's always going to be different layers of life. So you can't really have a hard and fast rule. It's how can you integrate? And I think about that as burnout doesn't come from working too hard. It comes from suppressing yourself and it comes from suppressing your emotions. And so that really is what drives you into burning out, not necessarily just a time frame that you're working or how hard you're working.
So there's no necessary the work life balance between the 9 to 5 and come back home and do whatever you want. It's just find the equation in your day to day life. It's not necessary to do like work 9 to 5 or side hustle job. So it depends on each person,
Mhm.
because I think is the when you try to find yourself in the frame of capabilities, you limited yourself. So just you have to to fly and find your own area in a way to improve. So
Yeah.
there's no, in your opinion, there's no work life balance like 9 to 5, and so it depends on the personality and the challenge that they have.
So we want to have work life balance, of course. I just mean there's like advice, right? Where it's you have to cut off, set a boundary, and do this. It doesn't necessarily always apply, especially to high achievers. And depending on where you are, if you work in finance, if you are starting a company, if you're a founder, if you have a 9 to 5 job and you are doing a side hustle for your passion on the side, you are going to have a lot of work within your day to day. So, what I say is, it's not about like having to work less, it's about having and being your full self, not suppressing your identity, your truth, not suppressing your emotions throughout, because that is what really creates the burnout. I wouldn't say that burnout is just created based on time spent working, right? Because I think that's the advice that's usually given is, well, you need to rest at this point, you need to start at this point, and you have to create these hard and fast rules that don't always apply to everyone. And I'm sure people who have children, right, can also feel the same way that you're balancing a lot of things at once. It's how can you be present? How can you be authentic to yourself? And then how throughout the day can you put fill your own cup up and make sure that you are prioritizing yourself throughout the day. So it's not just prioritizing yourself from 5 p.m. till when you go to bed, it's prioritizing yourself throughout the day. So, how much can you give to yourself? If you feel that you are in a state of fight or flight at work, how can you go give yourself 5 minutes to go for a walk and go outside, right? It's not these crazy rules that need to be created. It's finding what
Yeah.
works for you every day. And that's the key. There is no like black and white one size fits all for anyone. And we know this because people are going to be in different stages and phases of their life that are going to require more energy into certain things at different times.
Nice. And I think it's not only about, as you said, it's not only about the frame time work that we work with, but sometimes it's the overthinking, the chaos in the mind.
Hmm.
So I think the link between your job and my purpose in my newsletter is to find the clarity and how to rise through the practices that you coach.
Hmm.
So that's what I'm trying to find, this the challenge and the practical habits that you apply to your clients, or that whoever you work with. So it's the link between the clarity and the mind and how they apply it into their daily life. So sometimes I overthink and I have chaos in my mind and start writing or start do my hobbies, and this is I find my solution.
Hmm.
But how did you convince like your clients or whoever you work with to apply these practical habits from the brain and mind that you coach?
Yeah. You're so right, right? There's always a way. If you step away from a problem, you can find the solution faster than trying to solve it in your head. And so there's there's two things. One is try it out for yourself, right? Like pick a day where you try to solve your problem in the way that you do, which is in your head and overthinking and trying to manage it all up here. And then try it out, adding some practices in and seeing how that helps you solve your problem. So there's always a physical way you can test it out and you can see for yourself the difference of how you feel. So that's always one way. The other way is we tend to create like labels for like what's good, what's bad, what this means and what this doesn't mean. And so we've created a label that like when you're working really hard, you're going to make more money and you're going to succeed and so we want to do all those things so we work really 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 hard. Um if we rest, that means we're lazy, right? The label of lazy. So if I'm resting, that means I'm lazy and I should be doing more and I'm not doing enough and I'm going to fall behind. And these are just all of these automatic rules that we have essentially. And so another way is to actually see how doing this thing is actually working for you. So how is going for a walk right now actually making you more money and making you more successful, right? It's giving you clarity. It's giving you more energy so that you can work longer. It's giving you potentially ideas. It's allowing you to step away for a second. It's you giving to yourself. So you
Yeah.
have to really consciously see how something is benefiting you that you may think is working against you because everything is equal parts good and bad. It's usually we're only seeing one side. And so it's a lot of practices on seeing the thing that we're missing. And when you're trying to do everything in your head, it's really hard because your brain has all these mechanisms at play that it's trying to create efficiencies and it has focus points and it's bringing up memories and emotions, and there's too much to do in your head. So journaling is also a really great way to just get out what's in your head and see it from like a bird's eye view. So if you're dealing with a problem right now, write out your problem and just like look at it from a third party, because it's really easy for us to give advice to other people. But when we're trying to do it for ourselves, we're stuck. And that's because we're either in fight or flight and our logic is turned off, or um, we are thinking of too many things at once that we can't fully focus. So it's
Yeah.
always great to journal, write things down. It allows you to step away from the problem and see it from another view versus trying to do it in your head.
And how do we like? Sometimes I find myself trying to um have a solution for everything in my head.
Hmm.
But I was like, as you said, I tried many times to read, to take a rest, go for a walk, like whatever it suits me. But like not recently, 2 months ago, I was working hard and I
Hmm.
was doing a lot of great things at work with my side hustle business. But I felt burnout, like totally outside of my head. And I didn't know what was the reason.
Mm-hmm.
So a headache for like 7 to 10 days. And then I think when the higher achievers like me and the other people, if they find a problem or if they find they are tired on their daily basis, they
Hmm.
need like a maybe long vacation or long rest. So what was the issue back then?
Hmm.
And if um if I face all my challenges like on paper or in my head, like this is better than avoiding them, right?
Yeah, so there's so much that we can talk about with this.
Yeah.
I'll go through kind of each part of it, but the first thing is we need to know what our why is. We need to know like why we're doing something outside of just like making money and getting a paycheck. Like that isn't going to sustain us long term, right? So we need like a bigger why. And I work a lot with founders for their businesses, and we really do iron out and nail what their bigger why is. So it can't just be to like go public, right? Like that's not a big enough goal that is going to sustain you through the hard times and the challenges, because there isn't like this is just to burst anyone's bubble. There is never going to be perfection. We're here to grow. So there's always going to be things we're working through at any given time. And so you need something that's your bigger why. So for example, a founder that I work with, they're trying to transform an industry. So think like when Uber came in and they were transforming, the taxi cab industry. You're ripping apart something that is set in stone to create something new that doesn't exist, that you
Yeah.
have to get people on board with, right? So that is a bigger why that you can always come back to as you're dealing with challenges, because it's going to help you stay grounded in like what you are building
Yeah.
for that. If we're talking about someone who is like in a 9 to 5 and they're doing a side hustle on the side, what I always tell those people are you have to see how your 9 to 5 is getting you your business. So, what skills is it teaching you? How can you practice? So, let's say you want to start a coaching business. You need to be able to communicate, you need to be able to sell, you need to be able to understand problems. So, how can you use your 9 to 5 to get you closer to your end goal, which is
Yeah.
your business? And what most people do is they separate the two and they're like, I hate this one and I love this one. I just want to be doing this one. But this one is fueling you getting closer to the thing that you want, right? So you have to see how going to work every day is actually getting you your bigger vision and dream. And we have to do that because we're in a world that's filled with like instant gratification. And if I don't hit 1 million followers in a week, like I'm a failure. And people are quitting faster than ever because we create these expectations of what it is. But if you are someone that's transforming an entire industry or you're building a business, you have to know that it's going to take time to build it, right? Anything worth having is going to take time to build. You don't want to be a one-hit wonder. What has happened to every one-hit wonder in the, film industry or in the music industry? Where are they right now? We have no idea who they are or where they are, right? As fast
Yes.
as you go up, as fast you're going to come down. So
Yeah.
anything worth having is going to take sustainable growth. So you have to really see how every day that's getting you to that long-term vision, because we don't want to live in a world that's just looking for instant gratification. And then the second thing I would just add is we want to see how through every challenge it's growing us. So what you were saying before with like journaling it out to get it out of your head, that's one part. We actually want to sift to that too. So every single problem is showing us a solution, right? How do we grow? Do we grow through our challenges or do we grow through everything being fun and dandy and working out? No, when everything's working out, we get lazy. We don't want to rock the boat. We don't want to ruin the success that's here. But when things are going
Going
down,
hard.
that's how we grow. That's how we learn. That's how we see that, wow, I had this massive hole in my business. And now, because of the challenge, I know how to fix that so it never happens again. And so we have to reframe how we're viewing challenges, but then also sorting out what the lesson is and actually taking action on it.
Yeah, perfect. I see that in my day-to-day life, and when I watch your video like 1 month ago and talking about the brain mind and the higher achievers and their performance, and I was checking my day-to-day life in a way that I was testing my capabilities, and I was surprised and impressed how far I've become. And I talked to you to do this live session, and then we had the call that I see myself in a high performing ability to chase that, the higher performance and try to unlock my capabilities. Like, I see myself not only in my 9 to 5, you know what I mean? Like, I see myself in my side hustle job, in my small business, in my small empire that is growing, and then I know that I have to stay grounded, and at the same time there's a lot to improve. So this is normal in the process of growing and transformation, or something wrong with my perspective? You know what I mean? Like, did I have to change the perspective or keep going? Because the burnout that it happens to me 2 months ago, maybe this is the verification of that I need a rest or long vacation. You know what I mean? Like, this is what the conflict between to keep going and improvement, and at the same time have to take rest to
Mhm.
catch more energy in order to continue. So the balance, not only between 9 to 5 and the small business, the balance between go offline and
Mhm.
take some rest, fuel of like full yourself of energy, and then to keep going after that. So
Yeah, so I would first ask you, usually what happens is we put pressure on ourselves, and that's what causes things like burnout because we have an expectation for where we should be. And so you're putting pressure on yourself. And so pressure isn't going to make things happen faster, right?
yeah,
It's always a speed thing. And it's seeing how where you are right now is perfect and being able to take the rest when you need it, right? Like knowing your body, understanding when you've pushed too hard. And again, it's these expectations we've created for ourselves of what we should be doing, how it should look right now, that we're not far enough. And so you have to see and always be what you were saying, how you've done, how you've realized how far you've come. That's so important, right? We do have to see how we've grown, maybe not through financial or through followers or through
yeah,
some external marker, but that internally we've grown. And I actually posted about this the other day, but it's like progress is like grains of sand. You're adding grains of sand every day, and then one day it's going to tip. People think you're adding big weights every day and then it didn't tip. And then you're like, I'm wrong. I messed up. I'm doing something wrong. And you make it all about you're the problem. And then you're putting more pressure on yourself. And pressure isn't going to help you, right? Pressure is saying, hey, I need to reevaluate what I'm putting on myself, what expectations I'm putting on myself right now. And I need to see what I am doing, how it is getting me closer to that goal. Because again, you want to uncover like what your expectation is for yourself, right? So what is the pressure you're putting on yourself? Did you say, I want to quit my job by, August 5th? And then you're like, I need to just get closer and closer and closer to that. And you're just putting pressure on yourself. So it's always good to reevaluate. Like, what's the expectation that I've put on myself? Is this realistic?
Yeah. And the expectation is not defining my capabilities, as an example.
Correct. As long as you know you're creating something. And if you continue to create it, then you know that you are capable of doing that. Right.
Yeah.
So basically it's the same. And I'll ask you back, like, what your expectation is for it that you're putting pressure on yourself for, right? Because if you continue to do something for 10 years, I would say that is showing more of your capability than doing something for 6 months and quitting. Because
Yeah.
that's someone who believes in themselves long term, right? Like Jeff Bezos was willing to work in his garage for however long to build an empire. He is the one that believed in his vision, no matter how long it took him to get there.
Yeah.
So the problem is we're expecting things to happen fast. We're not willing to put in the work and the effort to do that. We've created, if this doesn't happen by this time, I'm a failure. I must give up. But you have to see how everything is getting you to that end goal. And if you believe in yourself and your worth and your capabilities and knowing what you're capable of, then you are willing to do it for the long haul because you want that thing no matter what. And so the way you sustain yourself without burning out is what we're talking about. How can you see that every day you're moving closer to that goal versus waiting for some big thing to happen? Every day there's progress. Are you clocking the progress that you are making? And this isn't just good progress. This is also something bad happening and then you learning from it. That's progress. If
Yes.
something bad's happening and you're not actually taking the lesson, that's different. But if you're actually growing every single day, you are doing it already, right? Everyone says enjoy the journey, not the destination, because you're expecting the destination to be like, confetti flying above
Yes.
you. And you're like,
Yes.
yes, I did it. The whole world's going to, you know,
Yeah.
that it's every day you're doing it. There should be confetti dropped over your bed every night because you're like, I'm doing it. I am progressing forward. Even if you didn't do one single physical thing for that business and you rested, you have to see how the rest is actually getting you closer to it because now you're good to work fully tomorrow. You have better ideas tomorrow. You can get something done maybe in 2 hours versus 7 hours in one day because you didn't allow yourself to like rest.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not only for me, it's for the people that they're stuck in the bubble
Hmm.
of not only 9 to 5. It's about framing themselves by time, by age, by location, by finance, maybe like lack of financial ability to change their lives. So it's not only about me. That the reason of the life is like the high performance, that the people that they need to grow to fly like high
Hmm.
and just try to overcome their obstacles or to achieve any objectives. And in your experience, like how do you manage the balance, like the drive to achieve? Like if someone is struggle in their journeys, as an example, in journey, and they don't find their path, how you just give them the advice or to adjust their day-to-day life? As an example, me, um, I don't like to go to the gym. I don't like close areas, Like
Hmm.
I go for a walk, I go hiking, like I find myself in other places. But maybe other people, they need the gym, they need to frame themselves in something, but um they need just to remove this idea of like stucking in their head and framing themselves through society or whoever they put them down. So how do you advise them?
Yeah. So to the first part of the question, which was like, how does someone find their purpose, if you will, or their path or getting on that? I would always say it starts with yourself, mastering yourself, and the purpose and path will emerge. Because if you don't know who you are and your capabilities and the qualities about yourself, your passions and what you love, what you are going to end up doing is building something that you should do or that you feel you should do, right? Like we don't want to go Google like what are the best opportunities right now and build a business on that because you're not going to have passion for it and it's going to burn out and you're going to end up having to start over again at some point anyway. So you want to do something that can sustain you forever because you're passionate about it, because it's something that you love to do. You enjoy doing it every single day. And so it always starts with you coming back to yourself and really uncovering the qualities that make you completely unique and special. Like I am built perfectly to do what I do, right? Based on my upbringing, based on who I am as a person. And so you want to go through and list out all of the qualities about yourself. And we want to not just do good qualities, we want to do bad qualities because, again, they're not bad. It's just a label. So we're missing how it's working for us, right? So, for example, and I wrote a whole Substack on this. So if anybody wants to go read it, but it's all about how we have qualities that define us that we think are bad and we try to shame and hide them. And so one of mine was like, I was told I was harsh growing up. And so you put harsh in a negative tone. But when realized what actually was I doing, and it was I was sharing truth to people
Yeah.
and that was triggering them. And so it was labeled as bad. But for me to do my job and work with someone, I have to tell them truth because you wouldn't hire me if you want to just be coddled and me to say you're doing a great job because that's not where change happens. Right. And so I'm perfectly built to do what I do. And everybody has a purpose and a path. You're living it right now. You're just not seeing how it's crafting you to be that person. And so we do want to look at what are our positive qualities, what are our negative qualities, and how we can reframe those in a positive light, see how it's working for us. And we want to better understand and know ourselves because whenever we're in some type of altercation or a triggering experience or an argument, usually we have an interpretation of how that person was being towards us. Maybe they weren't hearing us, they didn't understand us. And they're just mirroring you, that you don't fully see yourself and don't fully understand yourself. So it's building a better relationship with yourself. And this also works for habits, right? What you were saying is, why would you force yourself to go into a gym if you hate it,
Yeah.
right? You found what works well for you. And so we do have to understand and create our own life based on what works well for us because we aren't going to fit into a mold of what someone else does. So come back to you and create the rules of your life. It's yours to live. Why would you live by anyone else's rules but your own?
Yes, that's really nice. Thanks, Joe, for the wishes. Joe is saying beautiful reframe, Stephanie. So then it becomes about the style, so they can hear the truth you have to share.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is applied like when we find ourselves, this is will apply to our day-to-day life. And I was trying to reframe my habits daily. You know what I mean? Like from 8 to 10, do this and then do this and then after this. So this is, I think, leads us to the last point, like the support system. This is
Mm-hmm.
something very important. People like people they don't find their support system. They're dependent on other people's opinion
Mm-hmm.
and they don't know themselves already. So this is create some problems in their head, and this is very important because they are very dependent. And I was in their shoes one day, you know what I mean? Like my community, my country, my surroundings, like I didn't find myself with them. So I quit, I changed the country, and then here finding myself as a support system, finding the challenges, finding another problem to resolve, another objective or target. So do you have the same idea? How can they find themselves as a
Mm-hmm.
support system? This is the
Yeah.
main. I think this is very important, not only for me, for the people who listen, because really these days with the social media, with the all what's going on in the world, there's no support system.
Yeah. So self trust is number one, right? You have to trust yourself. And it isn't about the right or wrong decision. I think people get really hung up on the right decision. But the wrong decision can actually propel your growth way more than the right decision does. But the underlying thing is that you trust yourself. Most people don't trust themselves, so they're looking for everyone. Should I do this? Should I go here? What do you think? Should I do this? Do you think that I'm good enough? Do you think I'm here? And we're waiting and looking for people to tell us who we are and what we need to do. And so, what that's going to do, no matter what, it's going to at some point put you in a place of realizing and waking up, who am I and what have I been doing this whole time? Because I've been listening to everyone else tell me who I am. Right. So, if I have shame around parts of myself that, for example, I'm very passionate, as you can tell, like I get really into it and that's how I speak. And
Yep.
when I worked in corporate, it was always looked at as like aggressive. And again, that was a part of myself that I was shaming because I was told so many times, I had so much proof that it was negative. I have to see how it's actually perfect and how it makes me so special and unique and it makes me incredible at what I do, right? Because then if someone told me I was aggressive, I wouldn't care. Like it wouldn't bother me. I probably wouldn't even hear that because I don't believe it to be true. And if I did, I wouldn't think anything of it. I wouldn't try to hide myself to now fit this mold, right? It would be that's their projection of what it is. If I got emotional about it and I was triggered by it, then I'd want to look at it, right?
Yeah.
Why does that bring up something that's uncomfortable within me? And again, it's this feeling of wanting to fit in and wanting people to accept and love us. But nobody will accept and love us if we don't accept and love ourselves. It's just a metaphysical truth of how everyone's mirroring us. If you accept yourself, people will accept you. And if they don't accept you, you will easily know, like, oh, okay, that's not my person. And you'll move on without making it mean something about you.
Okay.
And so
So
you define yourself and what things mean.
how can someone solve this problem to start trusting themselves in themselves? So for me,
Hmm.
I have experience in finance, immigration, like in different subjects
Hmm.
in life. So every time I try something new these days, like I don't ask if I trust myself or not. Like all in, like go all in,
Hmm.
because like I don't ask myself twice if this is
Yep.
good or bad results, or if I trust myself in it. But
Hmm.
for those people, they're not seeing themselves as a trustworthy. What they gonna do, or
Yeah.
how they gonna solve it?
Okay. So I'm going to just explain some like quickly in the brain and I'll give you a tool for it. So essentially, what happens is we have our beliefs. So if we have a belief of like, I make bad decisions as your belief, what happens is our neural pathway, so it's basically whatever we're experiencing in our life, a part of our brain's going to filter out what we notice based on the beliefs that we have. So if you have a belief of, I make bad decisions, the entire day, your brain is going to focus on proving that belief true. So you're going to notice 10 things that happened that prove that you make bad decisions. And so it's not the ultimate truth, it's just a belief and it's just how our brain filters. So we have to first debunk that belief, okay? So is it true that you make bad decisions? No. How many good decisions have you made in your life? Come on, there's thousands of them. So we have to prove that wrong, that that is not a fact. So you want to first start with, okay, make a list. I like to make lists in my phone, however you want to do it, notes in your phone. And so you want to first look back at what are 10, 15 things that I've done that prove I make good decisions and that I can trust myself. So find all those things and you want to connect your heart brain, which is just your feeling. So when we try to do things in our head, we're disconnected from the heart, which is that's where our true belief is, the embodiment of the feeling. So you want to always go to memories and have real proof. That's how the brain knows it's true versus saying like, you know, I make good decisions and you don't prove it. your brain, your subconscious brain is like, no, you don't. You make bad decision. It's going to pull
Yeah.
up all the memories that you make bad decisions. You have to find real proof. So I would look back first from today, any point in your life that you've made a good decision. And then every single day, clock moments that prove you make a good decision. Did you put an alarm on this morning and get out of bed? I would say that's a good decision. Did you drink water today? That's a good decision. We have to go to micro moments. We have to retrain our brain, which means we need way more proof than what the proof is that already exists. So if we have a neural pathway, think of like all the proof that proves I make bad decisions, that's automatic. Think of like being in a forest and there's a trail that's already built out. That's the one of the belief that already exists, which is I make bad decisions. You can walk that path so easily because you have so much proof. You are now creating a new path, which means you have to dig every day, dig up to create the path. So
Yeah.
it takes conscious effort and you have to find micro moments. It's not, we're waiting for these big aha moments like, I made this decision and I made $100,000 from it. Like, no, you made a good decision already. Every day you're making a decision. You brush your teeth, that's making a decision so that you don't get cavities in the future. It's grains of sand is our progress. It's grains of sand in moments that prove true the new belief we're trying to create.
It's not tangible sometimes that
Mm-hmm.
you're trying to build something. Maybe these days you're not seeing them now. Maybe after 5 years, you thank yourself to save, to save your life, or like any good decisions that you make it now. Maybe it's not affecting your day to day life. Maybe it's affecting positively your future. So
Mm-hmm.
this is what it calls like action, day to day action, positive actions,
Mm-hmm.
and that the good decision that we go live today. Like
Yes.
it's very very healthy session, and it's very good that I have you. So like last question about the activities, like the sports that we do, that we forget ourselves while playing basketball maybe, and this is released a lot of stress,
Mm-hmm.
as I know. So um, what happened between your capabilities in the sports and your capabilities in your daily life of overcoming any obstacle or any social problem? This is helps as
Yeah.
a
So
community.
yeah, everyone should have a hobby. A hobby that you do purely for fun that you are not trying to monetize. So for example, I take piano lessons every single week. That is just purely for fun. It's I'm learning something new. I play tennis. I have hobbies that I do strictly for fun. The importance of that is like we're also here to live and have fun and not everything needs to be monetized and like created
Serious.
into a job. We need to do things for ourselves. We have to fill up our cup. We have to focus on something that is just strictly for ourselves to learn something new, whatever the case may be. And so the difference is that one has pressure and one does not, right? So how can you then also take the energy that you do in something fun and bring it into your everyday? And it's training yourself how to do that. But it's really, really important, especially just energetically when you're having fun and doing something purely for you. That in itself is going to work wonders, right? That's a way that you're filling up your cup that you're giving to yourself. It has so many benefits. So I suggest everyone have a hobby. I know people that do like trapeze classes for fun on the weekend, right? Like painting. Find something that you just do for fun. You don't need to be the next Michelangelo, right? Like do something that's just fun because you enjoy it.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it helps on like in the future, but this is like I'm not seeing it as a pull out the energy from playing a hobby to put it on your day-to-day life. This is indirectly like in your unconscious. This is applied to overcome any challenge. So this is might help anyway as a habit or as a daily activity that you can improve yourself and improve your power. So this is one of my tool as
Hmm.
a basketball player to help me to work in a team, to apply this as a like find any solution to any problem. And I will not like to help people. I'll not change my perspective of being positive and keep going. And I'm very thankful that you were with me today, and
Of course.
it was a great session. Do you have anything like anything at the end to say to the people?
No, just what we went through today is you have to invest in you. We're waiting for someone to give us permission to say you're good enough, you're ready to go. That's never going to come. And so you can start today. Only today exists. The present is the only moment that exists. It's never
That's
too
right.
late to invest in yourself and to start. And you are the one that's going to drive that forward. So you need to commit to you. You need to invest in you. And that will get you everything that you want in life because we're too focused on the external, but the external is just a mirror of our internal. So you need to
Yes.
focus on the internal of yourself and becoming your biggest cheerleader, your biggest support system, like you said. It's great to have people. We need that, right? We need external support to help drive us, but we want to first set the stage of what that is internally.
Yes, and nothing wrong to take rest,
Hmm.
to take some breath, go for a vacation, just treat yourself, be kind to yourself and know your worth. And this is what I'm trying to do, what I'm trying to tell to my clients, to my subscribers, to my community. And I really appreciate the session, and have a great day. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you for having me. Happy birthday.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your wishes. Bye.
All right. Bye.